All right, hi everybody. We are going to go ahead and jump right in with our June 2nd meal prep workshop. So we're going to be making creamy lemon asparagus chicken, maple mustard salmon and carrots, taco stew, marinated pork chop, and Sicilian chicken. So hopefully I'm getting a clear enough signal. I had to try to set up with a hot spot on my phone because it wasn't working so well with the home internet. So we're going to go ahead and just start right away. Make sure your bags are labeled and dated before you put anything in them so that you don't forget what's where. These first couple of recipes I did the meal prep videos, the 5-minute meals. So these are going to go, they go pretty quick. So we're going to just go ahead and start with our creamy lemon asparagus chicken. You're going to need 2 pounds of sliced chicken breast. So mine is partly frozen. I've had it sitting in the fridge for a while. I pulled it out of the freezer. Last night, and it's stuck in the fridge and it's still frozen, so, but, whatever. Still works, especially easier to cut this way. So you're just going to slice it and drop it right into the bag, and then this will hold your bag up a little bit better for you. And then do the second one. This is just, I think, like an ounce shy of 2 pounds of chicken breast. And you can use more or less if your family prefers a little bit more, more meat to veggies, that's fine. You can change up the ratios a little bit. All right, so set this aside. You ready for my knife real quick? The one thing with the 5-minute meal videos, I do not rinse my cutting boards in between. I just move them, set them aside, and keep going. So that does add a little bit of time to the meal prep. But, all right, so now we're going to do our asparagus. So I rinsed my asparagus and stuck it in a cup, and I thought it looked hilarious. I have a weird sense of humor like that. So go ahead and take your asparagus and make sure the bottoms are all lined up, and then just cut off about maybe the bottom ½ inch or so. Oops. Some of them are going to go flying, and that's okay. We're going to just drop these in our scrap container. And then you're just going to cut them into chunks, as big or as small as you want. I'm going with about 1½ inch chunks here. Okay. I'm just going to drop these right in the bag. If a pound of asparagus looks like too much or too little, feel free to add more or less. Remember, you want to customize this to whatever your family is going to eat. All right, so then we're going to add 1 chopped onion. So go ahead and grab an onion. We're going to slice it in half so that we can peel it nice and easy. Slice the ends off. Drop those in the bucket. And then just peel our skin off. I'm peeling it right into the bucket. It's probably a lovely view for you guys. So if you are watching this live, feel free to jump in and ask questions. And if you are watching a recorded version, feel free to just text me, email me, message me any way you prefer, so that I can help you out with this. So the nice thing about this lemon chicken asparagus is that it's one whole meal in and of itself. You don't have to add to it if you don't want to. Of course, feel free to throw in another side dish if you want, but you don't have to. It's plenty in one meal. Like the way that one looks. All right, so then we're just going to chop these up into chunks. And again, the easiest way, I think, to do this is to quarter your onion first, and then just, again, 4 or 5 slices. And you get nice, relatively even chunks. And just drop those in. Then we're going to add 2 or 3 cloves of minced garlic. So I've got my garlic over here. Got 1, 2, and 3. So we're just going to peel those real quick. This part does take a second here. Not going to come off. All right, so I've got 3 cloves here. The third one's already peeled. You can chop these or you can use a garlic press. I prefer to use a garlic press. I can fit usually 2, sometimes 3 cloves in at once, but the third one's kind of big. So go with 2, and then a third one. There we go. So we just scrape the garlic off directly into the bag. Then we're going to add a teaspoon of salt. I've got my salt over here. And then we're going to add 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. So I'm just going to do 3. 1, 2, and 3. And I use I've been using all these Simply Nature organic olive oil. Really affordable, decent quality. So highly recommend it. No, I don't get commission if you buy it. All right, so now we're going to do our lemon. We're going to zest it first. So it helps if you have a zester, like a microplane grater or a cheese grater, and just zest it right into the bag. Every recipe that we do, we always try to mix right into our bag to save on dishes, keep things flowing smoothly. Ooh, fresh lemon, freshly zested lemon smells incredible. Set that aside, and then we're going to slice this in half. If you have a juicer, then go ahead and juice it right into the bag, or you can squeeze it directly into the bag. Keep an eye on the seeds. Oh, where my juicer went? There we go. All right, so we'll just go right into the bag. And this one kind of catches most of the seeds. Second one. All right, so I am using coconut milk tonight for the milk that this recipe calls for. So it calls for 1 cup of milk. Grab our 1 cup measured, and then I've got my coconut milk over here in a cup. It helps if you make sure you shake your can of coconut milk before you open it, otherwise the cream gets all clumpy on the top. So I do tend to open my can and shake it really good and then pour it into a measuring bowl. Just makes things a little simpler. So then we're going to add a 1/2 cup of chicken broth. Here we go. Got that measured out over here. So we're going to go 1/2 cup of chicken broth. And then we're going to add 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning. If you have a narrow jar lid, you can do 3 teaspoons, and that's the same. So we got 1, 2, and 3, and we're done. That's it. Now we're just going to close this up and give it a good shake, pop it in the freezer, and move along to our salmon. So when you make this dish, I thought it was better thickened a little bit, like the juices thickened up afterwards. So I cooked mine on top of the oven in a big skillet. And then afterwards, I pulled the chicken out, I left the asparagus in, and I mixed a little bit of arrowroot starch with water, and then added that to the pan and let it thicken just a second. Arrowroot is just like cornstarch, but grain-free. Works in the exact same way. So you can use cornstarch if you prefer that too. So meal number 1 is done. Let's get ready for our salmon. All right. So next we have our maple mustard salmon carrots. So I've got my individually packaged salmon here. We're going to open up our bag. Scissors would be helpful, but I have no idea where those are. The downside, one of many downsides of COVID and the kids being home so much is they're always doing art projects that involve my kitchen tools. And so next thing you know, I can't find anything anywhere. And that includes my kitchen scissors. I'm sure many of you can relate to that. So we're just going to drop these, pull these out so I can use the bowl for garbage. All right, and you can use use any kind of salmon. You can use fresh salmon. I like frozen salmon. I find it very convenient. Although I did see they have fresh salmon on sale this week at Aldi, which I was kind of excited about. But I didn't ever even buy it because I'd already bought all this stuff. All right, last one. This is about 2 pounds of salmon. And then we are going to add a teaspoon of salt. And then we are going to add, this calls for a half a teaspoon of pepper. I'm just going to add a little pinch of red pepper, less than a quarter teaspoon. But you can add a half teaspoon of black pepper or whatever you prefer. Then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. There we go. We got 1 and 2. And then 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. It really helps if you measure your olive oil with the same tablespoon measure that you're going to use for your mustard, then the mustard doesn't stick. So whatever it takes. Whoa, my mustard's exploding. All right, so we got 1 and 2. This is another of those really quick recipes that I featured in my 5-minute meal videos. Goes together so fast. All right, we got 1 tablespoon of vinegar next. This calls for balsamic, but if you prefer a different type of vinegar, that's fine too. Red wine vinegar would work, apple cider vinegar would work, anything like that is fine. All right, then we're going to do a 1/4 cup of maple syrup, and I'm spoiled rotten. We have about a dozen maple trees in our backyard. My husband taps them every winter, usually February or March, and makes homemade maple syrup. So it doesn't get any more local than the backyard. He also has beehives, 2 beehives in the backyard. So hopefully a few more weeks and we'll get some fresh honey. All right. There we go. So now we're just going to add our bag of carrots. So I got just shy of a 1-pound bag of carrots because kids broke into it at lunchtime today. So dump them straight in. These are relatively thin carrots. Now, one thing with this recipe when you're cooking it, make sure that you pull the salmon at 15 minutes. Make sure you completely preheat your oven to 400 degrees, and then pull that salmon out at exactly 15 minutes. But if you want to, you can put the salmon on a separate plate, put the carrots back in the oven on the same sheet pan, and just let them cook for maybe another 5 or 10 minutes so you get them a little bit softer. They'll be kind of a crisp tender if you pull them at the same time as the carrots. As the salmon, but most people like the carrots just softer. So, all right, all right, here we go. Recipe number 2 is done. All right, so we'll go ahead and seal that up and pop it in the freezer. Alrighty, so now we are moving on to our taco stew. So for this one, I'm going to go grab the stew meat out of my fridge. You can use Asparagus too, but I just grabbed the pre-packaged stew meat because it's quick and simple and easy. All right.
I'm going to go check out Asparagus.
Sometimes with a 6-year-old it doesn't work. All right, so we're just going to dump that stew meat right into the bag. So this is basically a beef stew with all the flavors of tacos. So when you make it, feel free to add whatever taco toppings you would normally add. If you want to add some chopped lettuce or some avocado or some shredded cheese, some chopped onion, you could top this soup with any of those. All right, so we got that in there. So I'm going to start adding my spices next. So we're going to start with a tablespoon of chili powder. I'm going to grab a tablespoon measure here. So rinse this real quick. Still had some mustard on it. That would have been a funky flavor. tablespoon of chili powder. Then we're going to add a tablespoon of cumin, which sounds like a lot. I thought that sounded like too much when I first tried this recipe, but it's actually really good. A tablespoon of cumin, 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika. So smoked paprika and regular paprika are very different, and you will know that as soon as you open the jar. It's got an amazing smoky flavor compared to regular paprika. So if you don't have smoked paprika, you're actually better off adding chili powder, more chili powder, rather than adding regular paprika to it. All right, so we got our 2 teaspoons of paprika. Now we're going to add 2 teaspoons, oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, I got it right. 2 teaspoons of coriander. We got 1, 2. This doesn't go back on. All right, then we're going to add a teaspoon of oregano. And then the next ingredient is a teaspoon of chipotle chili powder, which I could not find in any grocery store this week. So I'm just going to skip that one. It's not the end of the world. If you have it, 1 teaspoon, go for it. Knock it out. 1 teaspoon of garlic powder after that. And then 1 teaspoon of salt. Alright, so then we're just going to stop there real quick and not peel completely, but just a gentle peel so we can give that a really good shape. Alright, so that all those spices get soaked into the meat. And now we are going to add a bell pepper. So we're going to just chop this. So slice it in half, pop the core out. These are not spicy at all, so if you don't want to pull all the seeds out, you don't have to be that careful about it. All right, so we're just going to slice it, and then we'll cut these into chunks. I don't know where you guys all are tonight, but we're in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and there was some rioting and looting last night, and my kids are aware of the situation. So my 6-year-old is currently outside making sure that nobody breaks into the garden shed and touches the tools where the bees are. So, priorities. I think it's cute. All right. So there we go. Going to add these green peppers right to our bag, and then we're going to grab an onion. Now this calls for the onion to be quartered, the original recipe. I was not a huge fan of that, so I'm going to chop this. Get away. All right. Make sure you get all the peel off. And then we're just going to chop this into chunks. If you want to quarter it, by all means, go for it. I just thought that was way too big for a stew. So. There we go. Onions are going to go right in with the bell pepper, the beef, and all those spices. There we go. And then we are going to add a little bit of just a little drizzle of olive oil. Also a tablespoon. Drizzle works just as well. You can also use avocado oil if you prefer. And then we're going to add some beef broth. Now this calls for 32 ounces. Just at half that right now. So we're going to add 16 ounces right now, and then 16 ounces when you actually cook it. And the reason is you don't want the bag to explode in your freezer. This is going to be very full by the time it's done, and that extra 2 cups of broth could be just a mess that you don't want to deal with. So we're going to add 24 or 28 ounces of tomatoes. The recipe calls for whole tomatoes. I love diced tomatoes. My bad. Flavor's going to be the same. All right. I always got to be careful with open cans. Way too many friends of mine that got cut on cans that they set too close. There we go. All right, so then we are going to move on now to our frozen rice cauliflower. All right, we're going to add our frozen rice cauliflower right to our bag. Break it up a little bit. Excuse me. All right, sorry about that. So we're going to drop our cauliflower right into the bag. This is going to be very full, so be careful you don't make a mess. There we go. All right. There we go. That is our taco stew. So we're going to very carefully shake this one. Let that cauliflower rice get mixed in with everything else. All right. Ooh, and that tried to pop open on me there. There's some cauliflower stuck in the lining of the bag. All right, so gently lay it on its side and press the air out of it. Very careful, very gentle. Don't make a mess. I'm talking as much to myself as I am to you guys. There we go. All right, and that one's done. I'm going to set it aside over here. Okay, so that was our third recipe already. So that one, like I said, serve with your favorite taco toppings, or just serve it by itself. That is, it goes really well either way. All right, our next one is the marinated pork chops. This is a really, really quick recipe. Comes together super fast. So what we're going to do is start with half a cup of coconut aminos or soy sauce. They can be used interchangeably. The only difference is that soy sauce is a legume. For people who are trying to be strict paleo, you want to avoid legumes. Coconut aminos are very similar flavor and do not have the legumes that you would have to worry about. We're going to add half a cup. And then we're going to add a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, which I got to find first, so we're going to bring it out. So we got a tablespoon of Worcestershire. All right, and then we have we need 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. So that's the juice from about half a lemon. And I already threw my juicer in the sink, so I'm just going to squeeze that right into the bag. And then we are going to add 4 cloves of garlic. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, make sure those are peeled. And be careful with your bag too. At this point, it's just full of liquid, so it can easily tip over and make a gigantic mess. All right, my 4 cloves of garlic, and my garlic pressed. I'm going to do 2 at a time and press them directly into the bag. There's 2. And the other 2. There we go. Nice homework out tonight. Okay. And then we're going to add just a quick drizzle of olive oil. It only calls for a teaspoon. That was probably way more than a teaspoon. And then we're going to add a half a teaspoon of pepper. A little hint of spice. And then you're going to add 4 to 6 pork chops to this. have my pork chops here. I'm just going to drop them right into the bag. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go. Wash my hands real quick. All right, and that is it for this one. So this recipe definitely has some Asian flavors to it. So you want to be, so that would go well over regular rice, over cauliflower rice. Throw some steamed broccoli with it. All of that would be fantastic with it. Okay, so just make sure you press everything flat. Kind of arrange your pork chops. It's so much easier when you freeze all these things really flat, and then you can store them upright. It's a lot easier to see what you have. There we go. All right, that was number 4. So we're down to our 5th and final recipe already. We are blowing through the workshop. We're only about 26 minutes in, I think. Yeah, 26 minutes in. So we are going to do our Sicilian chicken next. So go ahead and open up your bag and set it to the side. We're going to start with a little drizzle of olive oil in the bottom of the bag. We're going to add a teaspoon of salt. So this recipe calls for an entire teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. My family would never eat this if I put that much spice in it, so I'm only going to do 1/4 of a teaspoon. But if your family likes it spicy, then by all means add the full teaspoon. All right, so we are going to switch now to the rest of our garlic. So we're going to add 2 more cloves of garlic. We got 1. It doesn't want to peel. Oh, I didn't have garlic press. I have no idea. Oh, there it is. They walked away. All right, so 2 teaspoons of garlic directly into the bag. Ready. I'm going to try to escape. Then we're going to add a teaspoon of fresh thyme, or dried thyme, excuse me, not fresh thyme. I'm just going to add that again right to the bag. Then we're going to add 3/4 of a cup of chicken broth, which I have right now. Actually, got a little bit more than 3/4 of a cup. We're going to add that. There we go. And then we're going to add 1/2 cup of coconut cream. We're going to pour that right in. And then we're going to add seltzer for 1/2 cup of chopped sun-dried tomatoes. So, close to that. Close to 1/2 cup. Mine's 3 ounces, so this will be 3 ounces by weight. So it'll probably be a little bit more than 1/2 cup. And these are pre-chopped, so you can just dump them right in the bag. There we go. And then we're going to grab our chicken. Grab my chicken cutting board real quick. And we are flying through this tonight. This is fantastic. Knock out 5 meals in 30 minutes. So with this recipe, with any chicken recipe that doesn't call for it to be sliced, I like to slice the thicker half of the chicken widthwise so that it's roughly the same thickness as the tail end of the chicken breast. Tail end is completely the wrong term to use, but I'm sure you have a rough idea of what I'm talking about. So the thinner end of the chicken breast. There we go. It's still, like I said, kind of frozen, so it's actually really easy to slice through when it's partially frozen. There we go. So I got 6 decent-sized portions of chicken in here. So I'm going to wash my hands real quick. And then just pop this in the sink. we're going to give this a good shake, press it flat, and then we're done. This recipe can be served, if you eat grains, you can serve it over pasta. If you don't eat grains, you can serve it over zoodles or zucchini noodles. You can serve it by itself with just a big salad. It comes, there's just so much flavor to this. There's a lot of different things that you can do with it. All right. So there we go, guys. 5 meals, and it's in 32 minutes. That's not bad. If you guys have any questions about any of these recipes, like I said, message me any way, shape, or form you need to. If you have questions about serving or about prepping, cooking, anything along those lines. Just let me know, and I'll help you out as quickly as I can. Feel free to share this with friends. I will be posting this on YouTube in just a little bit, so please share away. I would really appreciate that. All right, you guys all have a great night.